That spoiler made me want to see the movie now.
Well, fair. That's good.
We have to do an episode.
We should do a separate spoiler podcast.
Just spoilers. just
flat out spoilers.
real fast. 30 movies in a row.
Exactly.
Just shit on everyone's
We won't
face.
even say what the titles are. We'll just go through.
We'll just
you can
spoil
match
it.
them up later. You'll be sitting in the movie like halfway through. You'll be like, "Oh
God, the motherfuckers." Hey there, boils and ghouls. Welcome to another episode of Halloweekly. Nick and George here with our top 5 favorite current working horror directors.
Best.
The best. The best.
No, I'm just messing with you.
Top number one.
Best is favorite. Like, there's no real difference. Everyone pretends there's difference, but there's no difference. If you ask me who's my favorite, whatever, and I always tell you who I think is best, it's whatever.
No, mine is scientifically provable.
Oh God!
You can get guys in a lab coat to watch these movies, and then they will look at you and give you a very cordial nod and say, "Yes, you are 100% correct."
You know, Hollywood does that now, right?
Hollywood does that. They pay people to.
I don't think it's people anymore. It's probably robots they put in the chairs and they whatever.
Do any of my films have robots? Because then that would make more sense. They're paying off the robots. I don't think you have to pay off a robot though. Isn't that what they talk about? Is like if a company hires a robot, what would their wage be? And then they do something weird.
Yep. Well, there's like an algorithm now, right? Like there's a company who they run the movie through it, and it picks out like the color scheme and the plot points and the characters and the dialogue, and it just spits out like this will make $62 million or whatever.
What?
No, there's an algorithm. I'll look it up after the show.
The only thing I knew that was crazy is I talked to a VFX guy who worked on like Spider-Man, the one before Marvel took over, and I guess they would pay people to go frame by frame and search each frame for like Easter eggs that the VFX team tried to put in.
Oh, that's smart.
That sounds like a pain in the ass.
But sounds like slave labor, but it's smart. But it's smart.
It very much does.
Or it sounds like a prank they played on like a group of people. They're like, we really need you to look.
To be honest, you could have been just lying right to my face, so I would go say it on a podcast in front of a bunch of people. So who the fuck knows?
All right, let's get to it. But before we get to it, here's what we're gonna do. So we're gonna lay out the ground rules for how we made our choices. My list is not definitive. There's a whole bunch of people. As soon as we're done recording, I'm like, oh, I forgot so like whatever. But I did the best I could, and I want to try to guess a couple of yours before you go, and see if you can guess a couple of mine. I just want to guess.
Okay.
And then you don't have to say yes or no, and then I'll know it.
So let's guess.
We'll figure out as the.
Let's guess first, and we'll jump into it.
I want to lay the ground rules first because people need to know. So what we're trying to do is we're trying to pick and give credit to, because we're trying to look not back but forwards for horror, who are the best horror directors active in the field today. And because that's how we phrased it to ourselves, we thought it wouldn't be fair to give someone the top spot, top tier, if they had only done one movie so far.
Yeah.
Right. So there are an incredible number of directors, more than I even realized, that have done movies in the last 10, 12 years that are really, really great horror movies, but they've only done one. Maybe they've done another movie, it wasn't horror. Maybe they did another horror movie, but it wasn't great.
But they at least have 2 up on the board.
But yeah, if they've only had one, we're not considering them. So they'll be in our honorable mentions. We'll get them out of the way first.
Yeah.
And then our time frame is basically the last 10 to 12, 13-ish years, something like that. Just
I went with 10, but you tried to sneak a few more years in there. So don't.
I did try to sneak a few more.
I went with a solid decade, which is fine because a few years isn't going to kill no one.
All right, so I'm going to try to guess a couple of years. Don't tell me if don't react. I'm just going to put it out here.
I can't. Okay, I have a terrible poker face.
No, I'm not going to even look at you. I'm just going to guess. I'm going to guess for my list.
I'll nod for the listeners.
you do that.
I will nod my head yes or no.
I have a feeling that you have Mike Flanagan on your list, and I have a feeling that you might have.
It's funny. I'm not going to say yes or no, but I was guessing you would have Mike Flanagan on your list.
Oh, really? That would be your guess?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Not to just cheeseball it, but I was like I was like Googling all these directors, and I was like, should I put that guy out? Nah, George would probably have that guy. So I didn't.
All right, so we'll go good.
Well, I guess we
impacted each other's lists, right? Who else would I guess you'd have the list? I guessed you had Guillermo del Toro on your list. Who do you think is top of my list? Take a couple guesses.
If I had to guess, I would say, and this sucks, not that these guys may or may not be on my list.
Sure.
David Sandberg.
Okay.
I would say David Sandberg. James Wan has to make an appearance somewhere on here. Oh God, I can't just read my list.
Yeah, don't give it away.
The only one I was gonna actually guess was David S. Sandberg.
Okay, perfect. Okay.
Because of Annabelle 2.
Okay, rock on. So let's go. Let's do it.
So
honorable mentions. You go.
We both had 5. We're just gonna blaze through this.
I've got more than 5.
Well, three of ours were the same.
Well, honorable. No, I'm sorry. I'm saying this wrong. Are we getting the one-offs out of the way first? Are we even mentioning?
Yeah. So these are people who have one horror movie out right now. I know,
or out recently, or whatever.
Yeah.
Right. Go.
They haven't had 2. So we had a few of them. So I put Jordan fucking Peele because I'd love to get out.
Yeah, for sure.
He has more stuff coming out that we know of, but it's not out yet. So I couldn't put him on the list, but he definitely had to be in an honorable mention.
Yeah, he's on mine too.
I can't wait for what he does next.
Yeah, and one thing that really puts him on the list is, Mitchell, the guy who did It Follows, his next movie is not. It's already out and it's not horror.
Yeah.
Right? But Jordan Peele announced that he was going to do several more horror movies.
And like an
so
H.P.
he's
Lovecraft.
Absolutely. Yeah. So he's in it to win it in the field, which means welcome to the field, man. We love you. So go.
Thank God. Breath of fresh air. Next, you and I both agreed, Robert Eggers.
Yeah, for sure.
For The Witch. They announced he's doing Nosferatu next, which I really can't wait.
That's in great hands.
Whether you like The Witch or not, if you look at a frame of that and listen to the soundtrack, Nosferatu's in the right hands.
Yeah, if you don't like The Witch, you're wrong. And the fact that he's doing Nosferatu is amazing. The only thing that makes me dread is that I don't want to wait 8 years to see it. But
yeah, well, whatever he's got to do. Right. Next, we both had Jennifer Kent on there.
Yep. Babadook, right?
Which is really, I wish he would do more stuff because the Babadook and even the short film it was based off of, Monster, are just really fucking good.
Yeah, I think that movie.
Her other credit is for writing. Or she had a writing credit on Babe, Pig in the City, directed by George Miller, who did Mad Max. So like we were mentioning,
what before, a weird combination.
Maybe it's just like an Australian
Holy
thing, like
crap,
because they both did like a few films and then like kind of like didn't do anything for a while. So maybe she's just in the phase where she doesn't make a film for another 10 years and then comes out with like her horror version of Mad Max Fury Road and knocks everyone's socks off.
Well, that's what I was gonna say is I feel like Babadook was probably an exhausting movie to make. So yeah, you take your time, Jennifer. We're ready for you when you're coming.
You and Robert just do whatever you need to do.
All right, who else you got?
Okay, so I'm not gonna get this last name. Leo Gabradze. He's the guy who did Unfriended.
Okay,
and I really liked that movie because it was completely different. And I also like horror movies that are made for no budget and make a fuck ton of money.
True.
According to Google, this one was had a budget of $1 million and made 64 in the box office.
That's insane.
So I love that. Then my last honorable mention, we both came up with the last joint honorable mention, so I'll leave that when we go to your side.
Sure.
But my last honorable mention, because he's doing a lot of television now, but he's also like just one of my favorite directors, is Kevin Smith.
Yes,
because he's doing a lot of television now.
Yeah, but he's not a one-off honorable mention. He's an honorable.
He's an honorable mention. Like I fucking loved Red State, and I wish I would.
You could have put someone. Yeah,
I could have put some. Are you judging my honorable mention?
You wish he could have been in your top 5.
Oh, he could have been my top 5. Yeah, he could have been in my top 5, but I don't know. I wanted to put him in honorable mention because
that's fine.
I just really like his stuff.
So I have a few more one-offs, but then I have a lot more honorable mentions to you. I don't want to just name names for 20 minutes of this episode, so I'm gonna blitz this really fast. Anna Lily Amapour, who did A Girl Walks Home Alone Tonight, which was amazing. She does have another horror movie, but it was not good. So
so that doesn't
right. Na Hong Jin, who did The Wailing, and I'm looking forward to see if he does another horror movie because I couldn't find any other horror movies by him. Alex Garland for Ex Machina, and I'm excited to see.
Yeah.
If I know it's not strictly horror, but I'm excited to see if he veers more horror.
Yeah. Because it had some good tension and.
Yeah. I mean, and it has a horrific ending. Well, you and I both agree that one of the worst things that happens in horror movies is being buried alive.
Yeah.
And this guy was basically buried alive, spoiler, at the end of this movie. And in a horrible,
And he also killed his brother.
Yeah, it's a great
mother.
movie. Babak Anvari, who did Under the Shadow, that Iranian horror film.
Oh, yeah.
Which was the debut. So obviously no other. And we talked about David Robert Mitchell. So my honorable mentions, I guess we can talk through this really quick and then we'll go to our top 5. But I just have a bunch. I'll skip the ones we talked about already, but
it makes it hard because we know all these directors are huge fans and listen to the show, and we don't want to disappoint them.
Yeah, exactly. So Neil Marshall is a great director.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, this guy. When you've done The Descent and Dog Soldiers, you're just a legend. But he hasn't done,
and he did some of the Game of Thrones stuff, right?
Yeah, he did Blackwater, which has that doesn't really have horror elements, whatever. But 2005 was the last time he did one of the movies, so it's not I just didn't feel fair knocking out someone who's really active now to put him in.
Yeah,
but he's amazing and he should be mentioned. So Brian Bertino did The Monster last year, which I really dug.
Oh yeah.
But he did The Strangers for that, so he has 2 really, really solid horror movies under his belt, right? So I felt like he should get mentioned. The Soska sisters are amazing. I loved American Mary. So they're
See No Evil 2.
They're
my brother's favorite wrestler, Kane.
Exactly.
Kane and Big,
exactly.
Tag team champions of the world.
Right. Totally badass. And then Greg McLean of Wolf Creek fame, but he also did Rogue, which we all know I'm obsessed with.
Yes.
And Osgood Perkins, Anthony Perkins' son, who's tearing it up on Netflix with some slow burn horror. Cool. And did Black Coat's Daughter, which came out
gnarly.
And then I just wanted to give a shout out to Sean Byrne, who did The Loved Ones, but he also did Devil's Candy, which was really good.
Yeah,
not as good as.
And we last minute before we hit record, because George thought I had Guillermo del Toro on there, which
not. Well, yeah.
Spoiler.
Spoiler. We both thought the other one had Guillermo and didn't put him on our official list, which is dumb. So he's gonna haunt us behind this whole episode. So.
He's the number one.
Exactly.
Because The Shape of Water is looking to be.
He's just assumed, but he doesn't need more exposure, so fine, Guillermo. Okay, so top 5 best favorite horror directors working in the field actively now. Who's your number 5 go?
So this, to people who've listened, would probably assume this would be number 1, okay. But I'm actually putting it number 5. Because I was looking at it and I was like, yeah, I guess he does quote something every once in a blue moon, but he's working. Okay, bottom line is I'm putting Michael Daughtry. Daughtry.
Are you fucking serious?
Yeah, I put him at the bottom.
Because
I love Trick or Treat with a passion for fashion.
I had poker money put on this that he was your number 1. This is some
which is why I switched it last minute because I decided I would like to fuck you on the show.
This is terrible.
By switching it.
But okay, go.
Well, anyways, I don't know. Actually, there's no rhyme or reason as to why I put him number 5. To be completely honest,
but he's one of the best working today. Because
I put him on there because Trick or Treat was 2007, so that fit my decade.
Yes.
And I think, or I know for a fact, he created another horror icon with Sam.
Yes.
And the way I sort of judge that is by how much fan art do you see of it online.
For sure.
And whenever there's a collage of horror film characters,
yep,
Sam's on there.
Yep.
And then
he might actually be like the most recent icon.
We were wondering that a while ago.
Besides maybe the Babadook now, because he's easy to design.
Yeah,
but yeah,
and then the redesign of Pennywise. But Sam, Sam is definitely on there, yes. And I fucking love Trick or Treat. It's one of my favorite horror.
Well, I was curious to see because I have arguments why each of mine are in there. I was wondering what your argument is, and I did not see the fan art icon creation argument coming, and I love it. That's a great argument.
He's put his stamp on there, and then also with Krampus,
of course,
I think was really well done. But then I'm also looking at what some of these guys are doing in the future.
Yes,
and he's directing Godzilla King of Monsters.
Yes,
which has to be better than the first rebranding of Godzilla, which was a boring pile of dog shit in my opinion.
Totally.
So
I liked it more than you, but it was not fantastic.
It was not my I wish it would have been better. So seeing him, who I think can do horror stuff really well with a giant monster.
Yep.
I'm really, really excited for.
You're way more connected with horror news than me, or at least current horror news. So always freaks me out a little bit. Like I get excited and I look ahead, and then I hear the people get removed from projects, and I just like whatever. So
well, these aren't Star Wars.
So hopefully he's gonna stay in there.
Yeah. So hopefully, but he's
right.
my number 5.
Beautiful.
Love him to death. If he came on the show, I don't know.
All right. I have a guy that I would have guessed possibly would be on your list. I don't think he is, but I thought he might be possible. But I didn't guess him because it would have given away he's on my list. He's my number 5, and it's Matt Reeves.
Oh my God! How did I fucking forget?
I couldn't.
God damn it!
So my number 5 working today.
Because of God
is
damn
Matt Reeves because reasons, right? So Cloverfield, obviously, but here's the thing: I was looking for special achievements. I feel like it's like the Olympics, right? For this, like I'm trying to let people up on my platform and give them medals. I don't know what number 5 medal is. Is that 10? Whatever. But I was
it is a 10 medal. So if they are listening, we will have their 10 medal.
We'll have your 10 medal waiver. So I was thinking to myself, all right, with all the buzz that's happening with it,
yeah,
and I love the success of this movie, and I love what it's accomplished, and I'm really excited that horror is reconquering Hollywood for the umpteenth time.
Mm-hmm.
The It TV mini series, whatever the hell you want to call it, was not good. Tim Curry was amazing, but the series was not good.
Yeah.
So the remake of it is great, but it was vaulting over a low bar, in my opinion.
Yeah.
There was a lot of pressure. I mean, I'm not taking that away from it.
Yeah.
But it was not like an aesthetic competition. It was not like it was ever doubt in my mind from the first time I started seeing the trailers that the movie was going to look better, sound better, be plotted better, mm-hmm. like acting with the kids. Like like, you know, so, Matt Reeves took on fucking Let the Right One In. Let the Right One In has a legitimate claim to be one of the best horror movies of the last 20 years.
Yeah.
And he remade it. And he
not long after the original.
Not long after the original. And there are so many ways to fuck that up. Like there's so many ways for that to fail, right? And I can't even think of arguably like Aliens, which I don't even believe, but I mean now everyone says it.
Yeah.
But like where well, that's sequel. Sorry, that's the wrong thing. But anytime a remake can go toe to toe with an original, and the original is so good that there's no way you should be able to stay in the ring with it, and he did.
Yeah.
I just am like, all right, so you did
It's like tying for gold medal.
Yeah, totally. You're right.
Not this 10 medals we're giving out.
Right, exactly. Well, he's still my number 5 because he hasn't done a lot else in horror, and I'm not convinced that he is going to be in the field consistently. But I just
he is doing, if I remember correctly, I think he got on. Well, he did Dawn of the Planet of the Apes and.
Yeah, and I also those movies like the Planet of the Apes movies have horror elements. Like there's. It's a for
There's
sure
sci-fi, which kind of goes in there.
He's just an incredible talent, and I think just for the fact that I wanted to give a place for the special achievement of, I think other people have done remakes that were good, or in the case of like maybe something like Last House on the Left, I might even consider I'm sorry, wrong one. Hills Have Eyes. I might actually consider better.
Yeah.
But it's only better because I feel like the original is super flawed. Mm-hmm. In this case, I feel like the original is almost fucking perfect.
And he's still
right, exactly. So number 5.
And he's doing. I think if I remember correctly, I think he's attached to do as of now the newest solo Batman film.
Totally.
So we know he can do some dark shit pretty well.
Sure.
So hopefully he brings that heat to Batman. Okay, so that's our 10. We're going now.
Who's
we're moving on.
4?
We're moving on to number 4, which would be we go from 10 metal to glass bottle metal. It's worth more when you recycle, I think.
Cubic zirconium.
Yeah, there we go. Oh, and I also forgot to mention Michael Daughtry wrote X-Men 2.
Oh, right.
Or he was the writer on X-Men 2. Okay, so next in my list, let's see. I'm gonna bop around here. I'm gonna start with I'm gonna flip the script here.
Okay. Since
we have to choose who we like in order. You know what? I'll go with this, and I'll just shock the shit out of everyone at the end here. I'll go with David Sandberg.
Okay.
Because he was able to take, well, first he did Lights Out.
Yes.
And so here's my reasoning for liking this guy. whenever people talk about him on the Reddit sub movie or movie subreddit, about his stuff, he usually pops in and chimes in and gives answers for things,
which is cool.
Which is really cool. So he did it with Lights Out, and he also did it with Annabelle.
That's awesome.
And I love, and he's, to me at least, him talking about it, he seems like he's a very big fan of like this genre and like connecting people about like how does this shit get made,
which is important.
And I fucking love that.
Yep.
I love when people can ask him, like they were asking him like, what did you think of the remember there was like the all black like demon with claws. Mm-hmm. They were like, what did you think of that? He goes, oh, I didn't really like it, but it had to go in there because it was made an appearance in like the last one. And I like that he just keeps it fucking real with the people. He's
That's
like,
awesome.
It's like, this is
that's
how.
another really good argument to have someone in there.
Yeah,
because it's active. We said active in the horror field. So you're making movies, but you're also active in the community. And
I fucking love that. Like that awesome. Gives like so much points.
That's a winning argument.
Yeah, and also the fact that, you know, I didn't see the first Annabelle, but it was panned pretty hard.
Yeah.
And it looked really predictable in the trailers.
It was fucking terrible. I saw the first 15 minutes of it.
So we went and saw Annabelle 2, and we really liked it.
Yes.
And I think if you're able to, because sequels are always goes strong. Like first films usually are strongest, and then sequels go down. But with that and Ouija, they're starting to go up. But the fact that he took a crappy first film and then brought a sequel that was infinitely better, that also
the achievement, that's good. All right,
yeah.
I see why. I agree with all that. I feel like both of those movies rely on jump scares a little more than I like. But the fact that he's active in the community and the fact that oh my God, it was so much to take a franchise and basically save it.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Right?
Well, I liked because they had the Lights Out short film and then the movie, and someone on the comments were like, yeah, the trailer sucks because they only flick the lights like 2 times and then they do the jump scare, and he goes, yeah, but that's only for the trailer. In the actual film we do it like 4 times. We try to build up the tension a little more. And the fact that he's like telling people like how this like process works, because there is a lot of, as we know with good bad flicks, a lot of shit producer stuff, and it's nice to see like a director
that's fucking awesome.
He's not throwing them under the bus, but he's at least like, things happen.
No, you said it best. He's keeping it real.
He's keeping it real. All right, so David Sandberg.
All right, so my number 4 choice here is gonna be the one you couldn't possibly have guessed. So it's Andre Overdahl.
Let me just go through my list here. Okay, so I do not.
There's no way you have Andre Overdahl on those lists. All right, so here's.
Nope, I do. He made my favorite movie.
Which is?
The Andre movie. I don't have
the Andre Lego movie.
Yep, that's the one.
That's the one. No, okay, so Andre Overdahl did, and here's my argument for why I'm putting him on the list. It's twofold.
What movies?
He did Troll Hunter.
Oh.
And then he did Autopsy of Jane Doe.
Gotcha.
Okay.
They just announced news for Troll 2.
Yes.
Mark Hamill.
Yeah, I saw.
Fucking cool.
So, Troll Hunter. Here's the thing. Achievement number 1 is that, first of all, I feel like that he really takes the time to get to know his characters for real, and there's almost no of those moments of, oh, they wouldn't do that, or why are you going there, or don't go upstairs, or all that shit, right? Like he's like a no bullshit filter for that kind of thing, which I really appreciate. Number 2 achievement is he made the last found footage horror movie I ever enjoyed, right? So I haven't seen a found footage movie after Troll Hunter that I actually liked that I can recall. So like he literally took a genre that I thought was dead to me and was like, hey, it's got one more twist in it. Right?
Yeah.
So I appreciate that. But my main thing is that Autopsy of Jane Doe authentically scared the shit out of me. Mm-hmm. It's an authentically creepy movie. And it's I mean, we talk horror movies, but you see it on our Facebook page all the time, or in the discussion groups or whatever. Nothing ever scares me anymore, or whatever. But that movie is scary and disturbing. It's got one of the best. Excuse me. It's got one of the best.
I'm not
actors.
editing that out.
That's fine.
That's a jump scare.
It's got good.
I'm kidding.
It's got one of the best actors still working in horror today, which is Brian Cox, who's amazing.
Oh yeah.
And it's just a perfectly executed movie where it's spoilers. So if you haven't seen it, pause, skip 30 seconds, go see it, and then come back. But it's a sort of a Blair Witch situation with this girl. You haven't seen this movie, so it's sort of a Blair Witch situation.
I don't care
with
about
this girl.
spoilers either. So.
But and she's controlling things and fucking with their minds, but she's dead. almost, and she's on an autopsy table, and he keeps cutting to her not reactive face, not moving, not while horrible things are that she's causing to happen all around, and it just keeps cutting to her not caring. So one of the cool horror tropes that people play with all the time, Wes Craven does it, David Lynch does it, like, is looking at, there's something playing on a TV in the movie, or there's something on a screen in the movie, and it's making, Wes Craven did it all the time, it's making fun of your reaction as an audience.
Yeah.
Right? So it's anticipating how you'd feel looking at it. This flipped it. This is the killer looking at you, but you think Anthony Hopkins is cold. She couldn't care because she literally can't move. And it's so creepy. And I just think it's one of the best, like, little magic tricks a horror movie pulled in recent memory. So he's my number.
See, Alex, I mean, that spoiler made me want to see the movie now.
Well, fair, that's good.
We have to do an episode.
We should do a separate spoiler podcast.
Just spoilers. just
flat out spoilers.
Real fast. 30 movies in a row. Exactly. Just shit on everyone's
We won't
face.
even say what the titles are. We'll just go through.
We'll just
spoil match them up later. You'll be sitting in the movie like halfway through. You'll be like, "Oh God,
the motherfuckers!"
All right.
All right. So I know. Okay. So I had a time on my list. I'm gonna knock one out. I'm gonna knock one of the ties out.
Okay.
Or knock the one person off the list.
Into honorable mentions.
It was Henry Selick. He's mainly, the stop motion films. Nightmare Before Christmas,
Yes.
James and the Giant Peach, and Coraline, because Coraline's probably one of my favorite movies of all time.
Amazing movie.
And I was like, what's this? I didn't realize. I was like, what was the last film he did? And it was in fact Coraline, 2009. And I couldn't find anything about like what's in the future. So I was like, I don't think.
Maybe not so accurate.
Because those stop motions take a while.
Yeah.
So anyways, he was going to be on there. Okay. So then
your
next,
real number 4 is?
My real number 4 is, and I'm sure you probably thought this would be higher on my list, but he's going to be number 4. Or no, that's my number 3. That'll be my number 3 because I went Dr. Reese Sandberg.
Yeah, sorry.
So my number 3 is James Wan for obvious reasons.
Right. We don't really have to.
No, it's just
James Wan, right?
Like, so anyways, you're number 3.
No, but I do want to tell you something. I am not impressed generally with the really glossy computer generated horror art that I see online.
Yeah.
I'm more of a traditionalist. I like, drawing and painting and but I'm not a big James Wan fan.
Yeah.
But I was scrolling through whatever Tumblr or something, and I saw a computer generated art for Insidious, and it's just a room and one of the characters and then the red jump scare demon.
We saw that. Someone posted that in the group.
Oh, maybe I saw it there.
Yeah.
I couldn't. Okay. So,
because you have no reason to be on Tumblr.
I don't
What's
remember
on Tumblr?
Yeah, exactly. But I saw. Well, yeah, but I would have felt like I remembered if I'd seen it in the group.
It was in the group because I saw that picture and I was like, "That's
right." But
terrifying.
He's like hiding in under a table or whatever, and it's so effective. Like it can scare you in a news feed while you're scrolling, right? So
I scrolled back up to look at it because I was like, "What the shit is that?"
Right. So I'm not going to argue with if someone could just come into your day and scare you randomly for no
and his films are really good at having like really scary looking people. Like
yes,
Insidious, when there was the woman at the which I think was a guy in makeup, in woman's makeup, with like the candle up to her face and the veil, like the old woman.
Yeah.
She terrified me for the longest time.
Yep.
And then same thing with Valak. I think Valak is absolutely terrifying looking.
Well, yeah. I mean, he scared millions of people, so I'm not going to argue with. He's not on my list, but I'm not going to argue with him.
But he's also, if we had to go to the future, he's attached to do DC's Aquaman, which may or may not be good. Because the DC films in general just kind of, which is actually funny because he's doing a DC film, and then your guy Matt Reeves is doing a DC film. We might have all the DC films connected somehow. But
everything's a universe. We covered this.
Yeah, but he's also did some Fast and Furious movies, so I feel like he's really not only he made his mark as a director, but in the horror field.
Well, he's got the chops.
I think.
Right. It's here. I mean, here's the thing. Hitchcockian was a description, right?
Yeah.
But there's no other horror director. You can't add universe at the end of their name. Wannaverse is a thing.
Yeah, and it's better than DC's and Warner Brothers like big
Right.
superhero universe.
Yeah, agreed.
So the fact that he can pull that off makes him number 3, which would
not
then
surprising that he's on this.
Which would then be we now move to actual bronze.
Actual bronze medal. Right, exactly. All right. Well, my bronze medal is Ty West, and
yep.
My argument here would be one logical and one just kind of personal, which is, he's pulling off a really interesting trick where he's trying to flex different muscles and the skill sets, but his movies all still feel like Ty West movies. Like The Sacrament was not a typical Ty West movie construction, but it still felt like a movie directed by him somehow. So he's got such a fingerprint that you can still see it even when he's trying to direct something that maybe you wouldn't think he would try. Right?
Yeah.
But my personal reason that I'm not going to go on and on about is just House of the Devil just blew my mind. It's a movie that it's not just a movie that scares you. And I know the way it ends is cheesy, and I know it's a little bit cheesy, and I know, the retro thing and blah, blah, which is fine. But you've seen this movie, right? No?
No.
Okay.
I watched the intro and
a lot of people give up on it heading into it, but I'm telling you right now, there's a scene partway into this movie where the babysitter who's babysitting at the House of the Devil, and it turns out she's babysitting an old person, not a kid. Mm-hmm. So the babysitter's dropped off, and her friend drives away, and then she pulls off, and I think her plan is to wait there instead of driving 2 hours back and forth and then just pick her friend up, a few hours later when she's done babysitting.
Yeah.
Or she might have just stopped to take a break. I don't know what it is. But it's a cold night. It's just an amazing atmosphere, and she rolls down her window, and her lighter doesn't work, so she pops the thing the cigarette lighter in her car. She waits for it to heat up, and she's just sitting in the seat, and the camera's framed across her profile with the cigarettes in her mouth. And she's about to reach for the cigarette lighter, and out of nowhere, a flip lighter comes through the window and tries to light her cigarette for her. And it is one of the most unique jump scares of all time.
Dang.
Because it's not a scary thing. And the guy is like, she freaks out, and the guy's like, what? What? Yeah. And he's like, I'm just trying to help. And she's like, oh my. And she literally goes, I almost died. I almost just died. I almost had a heart attack and died. And he acts really nice. Actually, all the villains in this movie have really calm, mannered voices. They're very polite. Mm-hmm. And then he looks at her, and they have this brief conversation. And he goes, wait, you're not the babysitter? And she goes, no, I'm the friend. And she doesn't get the word friend out before he blows her head off, which you do not see coming at all. And then her body falls over. He's got no head on it. And he reaches in the car, no blank expression, like he could care less what's happening. Grabs the cigarette out of her hand and finishes it.
I was gonna.
Right, sorry.
That cigarette
just
had
a classic,
purpose.
right?
Yeah.
It's just a classic. But I mean, just in a miniature moment of the craftsmanship, where he puts the camera, the surprises he gives, the fact that it's not a lazy jump scare, like it's a really interesting jump scare, and it's my favorite performance of Tom Noonan's. He's just one of my favorite horror actors, and he's just incredibly sinister. It's a great movie, but it's a movie that. It's a movie that just I could never get out of my head. I could just see the poster, and all of a sudden half the movie runs inside my head. So, I'm just putting.
He does a lot of slow burn stuff, right?
He does, and Innkeepers. That
was the one I tried to watch.
It was. I mean, I actually appreciated a lot of what he was trying to do in there. I don't feel like that's something I would, go back and watch, more than one more time maybe. But I think the fact that he was kind of ahead of all these people we're mentioning, like the It Follows people and the Babadook people, and all those are like he did that, but he did it just a few years before them, like blazed the trail.
Yeah,
so it's enough just for that.
Okay,
he gets my.
I need to give House of the Devil another run, because I always say I don't think I was in the right mindset for it, but now that I know.
Oh, and the whole last third of the movie is just insane.
So maybe this Halloween season we'll give it another go. All right, so I'm actually gonna flip my number 1 and number 2.
Okay.
So sorry to. Let me just make sure I know this. What sucks is these last names are just beating me up. Andy the It guy. The It guy.
Andy Muschietti.
Yes. Muschietti.
Yes.
He was gonna be my number 1 because I loved it.
Yes.
But he made it on there because he also did Mama.
Yes.
But I didn't. I like the short film Mama more than I did.
This is probably the only overlap we have. He's on my list too, but he was on my list as a tie. So go ahead.
Oh, okay. So it, for obvious reasons,
Right.
like I think it's just way better than.
It's one of the most successful horror movies of all time, and it's current. So how do you ignore this?
And
guy?
you see the Skarsgård Pennywise fucking everywhere.
Yep.
Now, and the performance he was able to get out of the kids and everyone in that movie I thought was fantastic.
Yep.
And we looking at the future, we know there's a part 2.
Yep.
Coming out. I don't know if he directed. I don't know if he's attached.
He's definitely.
He should definitely be.
He's definitely.
So we know that he has another great horror movie coming out.
Yes.
And I was almost hesitant not to put it on there because I liked the short film Mama. Mm-hmm. So it shows that like if he does have like a really good script, he can knock it way the fuck out of the park.
Yes.
So he's my number 2.
I mean,
and he made the list because he had to.
In the horror field, he's basically in eclipse at this moment. He's blocking out all the lights. Like there's no way to ignore this guy.
Oh, he did do the short film. So
yeah,
it would be weird if he didn't.
So yeah, but that's the thing is, I think that there's no way to record a podcast at this time and not have this guy up there. Because...
So who wrote? I know Del Toro produced it because he made it on the honorable mentions.
Yep.
He was executive producer. Did he write it? Hold on.
That I don't know.
Story
but while
by...
you're looking that up, I'm gonna silver medal. That was your silver medal, right?
That was my silver medal.
All right.
So the story was by him and Barbara. So they might have wrote it.
Oh, good.
Well, they didn't stick the landing, but I like it.
No, I mean, unless if he nails It Part 2 or Ittier or whatever we're calling it, then it's going to be, just a no-brainer that he's one of the top people in the field.
Yeah.
All right, Karen Kusama is my silver medal. So the reason why she's my silver medal is I was looking for someone who directed 2 horror movies, but you would never have believed the same person did both of them.
I see what you're doing.
That was my achievement lookout thing there. So she did Jennifer's Body, and she did The Invitation. So The Invitation is a mind-blowing, quiet horror movie.
Yeah.
With a really, really sinister stick-the-landing ending.
Mm-hmm.
Great performances she got from that cast, and the atmosphere to it is it really sticks to you. It's not it's one of those movies where the effect I like, because I remember one of the first times this happened to me as a kid was the original Exorcist, was just dreading having to go outside or go into a dark room or whatever after that.
Yeah,
and this movie does that in spades, right? It's just a great piece of work. But I think Jennifer's Body is significantly underrated for its reputation. We covered it at How Low Can We Go? And it's everything that The Invitation is not. It's like loud and brash and comedic and special effects driven and aggressive and it's everything. If you met 2 children like this, you would be like, one of those is adopted. Right?
They are not related.
Those are
not even close.
Not related. So just for the fact that she has that range, I'm like, she's got to be on there, because it's those people where I get really excited to see what they make next.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So silver medaling her. Time for your gold medal.
Well, before I get into that,
oh my God,
I just want to give a shout out to the Mama short film. I forgot how, I'm thinking about that part where she chases the daughters.
Yes.
And it gave me chill. You're sitting there talking, and I'm kind of staring off wow, that was really effective.
Yeah,
that's so
it was.
Okay. So number 1, are you ready? Guess who number 1 is?
I have no. My brain's fried. My brain's. This is the most names I've said in an hour in the whole entire life. I can't. I have no names left. No
names left. You know what? I felt the same way when you were like, guess mine. I'm like, I don't fucking know. I've looked at so many names. All right. Number 1.
Michael Daughtry. It's my guess. Still.
Michael Daughtry's robotic evil brother.
I refuse to believe he's not your number 1. But go ahead.
Number 1.
Number 1.
My number 1 across the board.
Still doesn't matter.
Still doesn't matter.
Still amazing.
Okay, so Fede Alvarez. Don't Breathe. 2013 Evil Dead, and the pilot episode. That's what it was. The pilot episode of From Dusk Till Dawn, the series.
Oh shit. Okay. Yeah.
And each of those has
Great.
Each of those are like their own flavors.
Yep.
And I feel like it just shows like the range of type of horror that he can do.
Yeah, Evil Dead was the biggest surprise of my 2013 as a horror watcher. I expected nothing out of that movie.
I don't think a lot of people did.
I thought it was going to be hot garbage. I was like,
And it was fucking amazing.
yeah, it was incredible.
And I know some people, we talked about Don't Breathe on the show.
Yep.
I liked it.
Mm-hmm. I like it too.
And according to the internet, that's never wrong. There's a Don't Breathe 2, which I think we've mentioned before.
Oh yeah.
I don't know how that's possible.
That's not possible.
Don't Breathe even more. I don't know.
It's also not possible that he can go track those people down in California from whatever. It's fine.
You know what? We're not going to get into that
because it's not yet.
But
it's fine. He'll figure it out. He's Fede Alvarez.
Yeah, he will definitely figure it out. But no, I really think in terms of like horror movies, like I think he's really good at locking down a tone. Because if you look at Don't Breathe, you know what you're going into. Like when the movie starts, you know how you're going to feel throughout the whole thing.
Yep.
Which is funny because during some of the scenes, like I did not want to breathe. Like it was one of those, not just to stroke the fucking title of it, but it was really good at what it did. Same with Evil Dead. Like it had enough of the horror elements and the campiness that I really liked.
Totally.
And yeah, I want to see more. I can't wait to see more.
I feel like just in terms of the camera work alone, Jesus Christ, he's not showy like Sam Raimi can be at times, but it's so effective. It's just like it really is an amazing thing to behold, to know how intricate that has to be to set up work through a scene like that, and even to take on one of the things I really like about Alfred Hitchcock was he liked challenging himself. He like, fuck it, I'll make an entertaining movie set in a raft.
Yeah.
Like the movie Lifeboat is literally set in like 9 feet of wood. Like it's, and he filmed in a visually exciting scene in a black basement where no one could see anything.
Yeah, and I think
that's pretty,
and it's one of the reasons why I really like Sam Raimi. He's really good at combining comedy and horror.
Right.
And all those films, or both of those films, were able to have a good blend of it.
Yeah, totally.
Which I think also helps for like the mainstream audience, because a lot of those people, they just don't want to have like the shit scared out of them. For
No, for
an hour and a half straight. They want to lighten the load a little bit.
Totally.
And he's able to do that, and then right after a laugh, drive some like terrifying scenes.
I love it.
So there he is.
I love Evil Dead. I'm gold medaling Lars von Trier. Hear me out on this one,
because you were a big fan of Nymphomaniac Part 1 and 2.
No, I'm serious here. I have a serious argument.
I am very curious for this argument.
I have a serious argument for this. I think he's the best director active in horror today, and there are a couple of reasons why I think that. A lot of people don't know this who aren't paying attention to his career, but he did a TV series called The Kingdom. And The Kingdom was set in sort of a supernatural haunted hospital setting. And Stephen King liked it so much, he readapted it as a Stephen King story in America, because this aired in Germany. So he inspired that story. But the plot thickens because the people who worked with Lars von Trier, they ended up influencing American Horror Story. So The Kingdom is really the root of a lot of what we see in American Horror Story. So he had a huge impact just out of the gate on affecting both Stephen King and affecting American Horror Story, just as an influence, just getting into the field, right?
Yeah.
So then he does Antichrist, and Antichrist is the better Mother !
Yeah.
Okay. So like, I love Mother, but Antichrist is a more dangerous, less confined to a message animal than Mother is. So Mother's going to set the world on fire with this art house, horror crowd or whatever.
He actually came out and said it's a punk film.
Yeah, and he said it was climate change film, but I disagree with all this shit. I think he's just playing cleanup because of what's happening as it got released, but that's fine. But so that's one thing there. Melancholia, I think, is one of the great overlooked horror movies. Literally everyone dies in this movie. Spoiler: everyone dies. The Earth gets annihilated in this movie, but there are just great. There are just a lot of horror elements in that movie and great scenes that take place on that part of it. One of the things that I really appreciate about Lars von Trier is this guy is not messing around. He is the same kind of filmmaker that a Hitchcock or the French guy Clouseau was, where their vision is uncompromising. He literally wouldn't change a thing in his movie if you put a gun to his head. One of the things I like about horror is that it's rebel and it's rogue, and this guy is literally the most rogue director you can think of that does into horror. So, but now let's bring this full circle, okay? Because his next project that's about to be released is coming on TV, and it's called The House That Jack Built. Mm-hmm. And the synopsis is the story follows Jack, a highly intelligent serial killer, over the course of a 12-year killing spree, and depicts the murderers that truly develop him into the world's foremost serial killer. So he's picturing this as a mega series with just dozens and dozens of stars and actors, and it's going to be a more ambitious version of Hannibal.
Oh,
right, which is where he's taking it. So this is a guy who hasn't spent his whole career in horror, and arguably a lot of the movies that I think are horror have horror elements. You might say they're not horror or whatever, but he has had such a huge impact on the field, and he keeps coming back to it, right? And I think that he's the most dangerous filmmaker who touches on horror themes that's working. It used to be John Carpenter.
Yeah.
Right? Like if you had asked me who's the most dangerous, horror maker in like the modernish horror era, I probably would have said someone like John Carpenter. I probably would have said doing something like The Thing is just like, whatever. But this guy is that, but he didn't stop doing it like John Carpenter.
He's right? Like orbiting horror. He's like here's my horror film, gonna do something else.
And when you think about it, just as the final thing for my thing is, that's what Hitchcock did. I mean, no one would argue that Hitchcock didn't do horror films,
yeah.
Right? But Hitchcock would do political thrillers, and then he would come back and do horror, and then he would do, domestic dramas, and he'd come back and do horror, and he would do mysteries, and he'd come back and do horror. So this guy is doing the same kind of thing, and I think we're missing it. And I think later on, when we look back, especially if he does more work like this series that's coming up, that we're going to look back and see like, oh shit, that guy was really exerting gravitational force on the horror field, but we weren't paying a lot of attention to it. So yeah. he's my
you picked your number one because he influenced Stephen King and American Horror Story. My number one made a really good remake of The Evil Dead.
Well, no, I think Antichrist is one of the best horror movies of the last 20 years as well. So I think it's and I think Melancholia is really overlooked.
I should have stole your Let the Right One In argument for evil for totally. Alvarez's Evil Dead. Totally. I would have looked way smarter in this episode if I had done that.
So that's the list. But what we're really, really curious to find out is who we missed, who you disagree with or agree with strongly. So let us know on the Facebook page, in the Facebook group if you're in it. This is a topic we're really, really curious about because we really strongly believe that we're in sort of a possible next golden age of horror.
Yeah.
And it's also exciting.
The other reason I was thinking about this a lot lately is because, George Romero and then Tobe Hooper died. Yeah, and I was thinking to myself, who the fuck is the next wave of those people? Because usually when we say horror, first couple of names that come up is Alfred Hitchcock, John Carpenter, Wes Craven.
Yep.
Those guys. And I was thinking to myself, who is the next? I mean, not to say they're replaceable, but with next, but who's that?
Well,
who's
so
that
it's
wave?
an interesting point because there's a guy I like named Paul Schrader. He directed, I think he directed Taxi Driver. But being me, what I know him for is he directed a movie called Mishima about a Japanese author I like, and he did an interview really, really recently, and the pull line for it, the thing that was supposed to get your attention was, his quote was, "The movies weren't better in the 70s. The audiences were."
Oh, yeah.
Right? And he was really saying that there was a culture of people wanting more interesting stuff out of their entertainment and not wanting it to be explained out to them every step and et cetera, et cetera. I know John Carpenter and George Romero. I mean, I know they battled absolute shit. And I've studied George Romero a lot. I know he went through a lot to get his shit made. So I'm not saying they had it easy by any stretch of the imagination. But, when you're on your own, like George Romero was, and the obstacles are the typical obstacles, we don't want to invest in you. We don't want to do like whatever. And then you just say, fuck it. And you go film in Pittsburgh. Then that's, you've separated from the mothership. You're like, I'm just going to do what I do. Yeah. And he gutted it out and got it made. I feel like sometimes it's the more insidious ways to kill quality that are actually the harder ones to fight. Yeah, here's a bunch of money. I just change that one thing, but here's a bunch of money and just tweak this. And here's, you'll get this next project and you'll get to remake Nosferatu. Just, do like whatever. And I feel like we're in a culture now where it's hard to imagine someone going on a run the way like John Carpenter did. Yeah. Because our culture moves so fast and it's so Variety magazine, Hollywood Reporter, like whatever. So I don't know. It's hard. I feel bad for them trying to get things done the way with the conditions they're in. Just like I felt bad for the way that John Carpenter, Romero, and all of them had to get things done back in their day. It's just a different set of circumstances, but maybe equally hard. But the point is that I feel like someone like Robert Eggers could be, right? Yeah. Like if he knocks off Nosferatu and does another great horror movie, or Matt Reeves comes back, or Fede Alvarez comes out and does Don't Breathe and does something else that blows our mind after that, like we're sitting on another set of really, really good horror directors. So I guess what I'm saying is we're not living in 1995. So that's
thank fucking Christ. So and I feel like our list like the potential for that is definitely in there.
Yes,
which makes me happy. Yeah, because all we got to do is just pop out our movie pass, swipe it, and enjoy.
Those people got to pay us. Okay.
So if you liked this episode and previous episodes and the community, head on over to our Patreon page and consider supporting us for as low as $1 a month. Means the world to us.
And if you didn't like the episode and you're a masochist, still go over to the Patreon page and support us because we'll do more shit that aggravates you later.
Yeah, and if you're into that thing, we'll just aggravate the shit out of you from now till Kingdom Come, and we'll be glad to say you're a supporter.
Come one, come all.
Who cares? And head on over to the iTunes page and subscribe to the show or wherever you get your podcast. Yep. Just subscribe to it and enjoy it. Until next time, watch a bunch of scary movies and stay scary.
Bye, guys.
Bye.